If you've ever wondered what people mean when they talk about a room having a sound, or good sounding rooms and bad sounding rooms, have a listen to this. That's what we mean by a room having a sound. That's two completely different rooms and two completely different kinds of sound. They're extreme examples, but what I'm trying to get across is how important the sound of the room is to what we hear. None of the difference in the sound of those two balloons bursting was due to the balloons. What we were hearing was the sound of the room. And the sound of your recording room has as much impact on the sound of your recordings as the chambers did on those two balloons. When we talk about a room sounding good, what we actually mean is it makes whatever you're recording in it sound good. And the reason most rooms don't sound good is not because they're too dead, like the anechoic chamber, but because they're too live, like the reverb chamber, just on a much smaller scale. Sound gets trapped in the room, it bounces around the walls and the floor and the ceiling. So to improve the sound of the room, that's what we need to look at stopping. There are different ways to do it, but before we get into those, I want to talk very quickly about foam. You'll often see this kind of stuff stuck onto the wall in rehearsal studios and places like that. Not only is foam really expensive, but it's not thick enough and it's not dense enough to be any use at all. There are much cheaper and much better ways to do the job. Have a read of this article if you want to. I've put the link also in the description, and that'll tell you everything that you need to know about foam. On the other hand, the best thing you can use is rigid fiberglass. Depending on where you live in the world, it will be called Rockwool or Owens Corning or Knauf. It's much cheaper than foam and it outperforms it in every single way. If you can go down that road, I really recommend that you do. But the point of this video is I want to show you what you can do if you're at home and you don't have any of that stuff. You can achieve pretty much the same thing by being clever with furniture and furnishings. Just like the anechoic chamber, we need to absorb the sound to stop it bouncing around the room. Hard, flat surfaces reflect sound, so we need soft things. Big soft furniture like beds and sofas are fantastic. And you need to find as many soft furnishings as you can. Duvets, pillows, cushions, towels, rugs. The thicker and heavier they are, the better. Bundles of clothes work really well too. And make sure you always close your curtains, because not only do the curtains cover up the hard reflective windows, but they give you that little bit more isolation between you and any noise that might be happening outside. It's quite difficult to treat the whole room like this. Do it if you can, but what I recommend you do is treat as much of the walls as you can, and then try and almost build a wall around yourself with soft furnishings. And when I say cover up the walls, don't go crazy. We're not trying to kill the sound, we're just trying to control it. So if you've covered half of each wall, that's absolutely fine. If you need some height to get up the walls, you can just stack a load of boxes up the wall like this, fill them up with clothes, and you've done the job. You can hang duvets and blankets over chairs and mic stands, and a broom handle will be great for hanging things over. Bookcases and chests of drawers are great as well. Bookcases, because everything that's on them tends to be at different depths. So what happens when the sound hits it, instead of being reflected straight back, the sound is scattered in all sorts of different directions, which is a good thing. And the same with a chest of drawers. If you've got drawers, pull them all out at different depths. And again, when the sound hits it, it can't come straight back, it gets scattered. Just make sure you stuff as much on the bookcase as you possibly can. And the same with wardrobes. Open up the doors. If you leave the doors closed, you've got a hard reflective surface. If you open up the doors, and assuming the wardrobe's full of clothes and soft stuff, pillows, you've got another sound absorber. While I'm on wardrobes, don't ever sit in a wardrobe or a cupboard to record vocals or a guitar amp or anything. People sit in wardrobes because they think it's a bit like a vocal booth, and it'll give them a lot more isolation from the outside world. While, yes, it will give you more isolation from the outside world, a wardrobe is nothing like a professional vocal booth. Vocal booths in big studios are actually not that small, and the walls will have acoustic treatment in them to stop all the weird resonances that you'll get if you record in a wardrobe at home. It doesn't matter how full of clothes it is, you cannot stop it sounding like a small space. So don't ever record in a wardrobe. Better that you treat the room and record in a big open room. As far as the ceiling goes, realistically, other than putting ceiling clouds up, there's not really much you can do about it. The best thing to do is treat the floor with a carpet or a rug or some clothes so that anything that comes off the ceiling gets absorbed by that on the floor. One nice little trick, if you feel that the sound is too bright when you're recording, you can take the path between the instrument and the microphone and put something on the floor between them, and it will dull the sound. And conversely, if you find that the sound you're recording is too dull, you can brighten it up by exploiting that and putting something hard and reflective between the instrument and the microphone. Hopefully that covers everything. I've tried to give you as much information as I can without going into huge amounts of detail. So if I've missed anything or not explained anything as well as you'd like, do drop us an email, or you can get in touch via the contact page of the website.